Hello, I'm Attorney Todd Leneve. Welcome to West Virginia Gun Law. Today I want to dig into a question that I'm periodically asked regarding self-defense and the idea of using pepper spray versus bear spray. Let's take a few minutes today and break down the answer that I typically give when this question crosses my desk. Stick around. So, pepper spray versus bear spray. Which one's right for me? What should I carry for self-defense? Well, there are several important considerations that I think you need to take into mind when you are choosing how you want to protect yourself in any given scenario. Now, it's important to understand first and foremost that any use of a spray-type product like this needs to comply with the self-defense laws of your state. That means that you have to do everything right, just as you would with any other weapon, in order to be able to argue legal justification for your choice to use a pepper spray or a bear spray in any given self-defense scenario. Now, in West Virginia, we have a specific definition of pepper spray under the dangerous weapons section of our state code. In particular, West Virginia Code Section 61-7-2 subsection 12 reads as follows. Pepper spray means a temporarily disabling aerosol that is composed partly of capsicum oleoresin and causes irritation, blinding of the eyes, and inflammation of the nose, throat, and skin that is intended for self-defense use. So the key takeaway, I think, from this definition is that our law expressly defines pepper spray as a self-defense application. It's not to be used for offensive purposes. Just like any other weapon, dangerous weapon, deadly weapon, whatever the case may be, as our state code or your state code defines it, if you use that weapon in an improper manner, offensively, just initiating contact with another person, very likely you're going to face criminal liability for your choice to do so. The key to any kind of weapon is that using it defensively, by meeting the standards of self-defense under your state law, gives you the ability to argue for justification of your decision to use that product for a defensive encounter. It essentially arms your attorney with the ability to say, the use of this product complied with our state's self-defense law, and therefore they should not be liable criminally for having chosen to use that product in response to a threat that they faced. So let's take a look at the differences between pepper spray and bear spray and what sets them apart from one another. Pepper spray is intended for self-defense against another person. Typically uses a lower concentration of capsaicinoids than bear spray, usually deployed as a stream or a foam. 1 to 2 ounce canisters are the typical defensive carry size. Has less pressurization in the canisters, so the stream typically projects 10 to 15 feet. Bear spray is designed for use against bears or other aggressive wildlife, has a higher concentration of capsaicinoids than pepper spray. It's deployed as an aerosolized fog or mist. Canisters are usually at least 9 ounces. It has higher pressurization and disperses the product out to 25 to 30 feet. So the biggest difference here, the thing that really makes the greatest impact between these two products, is the concentration of the capsaicinoids that each one contains. Now, the capsaicinoids are the compound within a pepper's oil that create the heat sensation. So the higher the concentration of capsaicinoids, the greater the pain that they are going to bring. Just like a ghost pepper is significantly hotter than a jalapeno pepper, bear spray contains a higher concentration of capsaicinoids than pepper spray does. Now, it's interesting that a lot of pepper spray marketing will boast the percentage of the oleoresin capsicum that's contained in it. But that compound isn't really the key factor in determining how effective the product is going to be. It's that concentration of the capsaicinoids. So that's what you want to look at when you're evaluating pepper spray for your own personal self-defense use. So what does all this mean for us as self-defenders? Well, first off, it's important to understand that virtually every bear spray product out there says on the label it's not intended for use with humans. And so using that product in a manner that is off-label could create some criminal or civil liability for you if you chose that in a self-defense scenario. Now, is it expressly illegal? I point back to the West Virginia Code definition of pepper spray that we looked at that defines pepper spray as a tool that is designed and intended for self-defense purposes. It doesn't address bear spray. Now, bear spray may technically meet some of the terms of the definition, but the definition isn't for bear spray, it's for pepper spray. And so there's not an express reference in our state code to bear spray. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's illegal to use against a person. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is legal to use against a person. But what I can say with assurance is this: a savvy prosecutor is going to blow up a picture of the label of the spray that you used, the part that says not for use with humans. And they're going to put that in front of a jury, and they're going to argue that it goes to your mindset. Now remember, at this point, if you happen to be the one on trial because you acted in what you claim is self-defense, but the police chose to see it another way, and a prosecutor decided they saw it another way, you're the bad guy. And the jury is going to hear this prosecutor argue that the off-label use of bear spray is just one more factor that they can use to consider whether or not you're guilty of the crime that they may have charged you with. This is really similar to the people I hear say, oh, I keep a can of wasp spray on my nightstand or at my desk because nobody thinks that's for defensive use, and then if they attack me, I've got something handy. Well, I don't know why, one, you wouldn't want somebody to realize that you were prepared to protect yourself, but two, why you would think that that was any better, any more okay than using bear spray in a self-defense situation. The fact is, wasp spray is designed for wasps, and by that, I don't mean white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. We're talking about the little flying bugs that are a massive pain to deal with. If you use a product in a manner that it's not intended to be used, that's contrary to its purpose, there's actually a risk that you could cause more significant injury to the other person. And depending on your scenario, that could constitute an improper or unlawful elevation of force compared to the threat that was presented to you. And I would argue that if the threat is significant enough that you want to use some kind of chemical that you don't know what it's going to do to another person to protect yourself, you probably should have gone to a firearm instead. If you have a threat that's not a deadly force threat, meet it with a non-lethal response. Again, using a product in an off-label manner could be used against you at a trial and could convince a jury that your mindset was that you chose to arm yourself with a product knowing that it wasn't intended for the use that you planned to use it for, and that you did in fact use that product for your intentions, but in a manner that was not contemplated by the manufacturer. Now, again, I understand the scenario we're talking about here. You found yourself in a self-defense situation that was not of your own making, and now suddenly you're the one on trial. And now they're choosing to attack the manner of response that you made. And it is frustrating, I get it. And I'm sure that some of you in the comments are going to have thoughts that, this is ridiculous, that I'm taking a weaselly way out of this. The simple reality is that I firmly believe in the use of an improvised weapon when you have no means of accessing your normal defensive tools, whether that's pepper spray, whether it's a tactical pen, whether it's a firearm. If you can't get to those tools, use whatever you need to use in order to be sure that you're the one that has the greatest chance of coming out of that encounter. A cup could be a defensive tool. And for that matter, if you'd like to purchase one of these, let me know in the comments and we can make that happen. But the bottom line is that a tool of opportunity, a weapon of opportunity, absolutely is okay under the correct circumstances. If you face the kind of threat that requires you to use something in an off-label manner, such as bear spray or a wasp spray, or to pick up a cup or a stick or a rock or a hammer or whatever you can reach in that moment, do what you have to do to protect yourself. But understand that going out and intentionally arming yourself with a product not designed for that use is going to open you up to different kinds of liability, whether criminal or civil. So this topic, I'm sure, is going to have some people kind of up in arms, and I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments section below. Please take a minute and drop your thoughts, and let's see if we can get a good discussion going. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. We'd love to have you as a part of this community. If you would too, I'd be honored if you would be willing to share the channel with other people and encourage them to subscribe. The more that we're reaching out there, the better visibility these videos are going to get, and we're going to be able to get around that anti-2A algorithm that seems to stifle this kind of content. Hit the like button, share this video, and I really appreciate you being here with me today. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time around. Until then, take care and stay safe.